Hello everyone and welcome back to another deck profile here on the channel. Today I have my top 8 place Zephagamon deck profile from the Glasgow regionals as in March last week from when this profile goes live. Fantastic time, absolutely amazing. A lot of people kind of see this as like a slight underdog pick with Zephagamon, and a few people was like it's got hidden potential, and I'm happy I got to show the deck its true potential of what it could do. So I'm going to go through card by card and explain choices as much as I can for ratios and why I'm playing certain cards. And at the end there will be the full profile just up on the screen at the end of the video. So if you want to check out that, you can go to that. So let's begin with our eggs. 4 of the EX7 Fluffymon. I appreciate the memory gain more than any other egg. I've tried the other Fluffymon for suspending when attacking, and it was nice to begin with, but with a 2.5 coming out, I didn't feel like it was needed anymore. And I've tried the Cocomons, I think it was, or the Gummymons for the draw power, and again, I didn't feel like I needed it too much. The memory gain I was missing, so I'd rather stick with the memory gain. And it proved very useful to help keep turns at times and keep things going. On to rookies. The first one we shall show off. 4 structure deck, Searcher, Terramons, field top 3, add 1 card Bird or Avion, and 1 card Liberator or Vortex Warrior. Amazing search power for the deck. You're pretty much always grabbing 2 cards with this. The only time you get a difficult choice is if you see a Shoto you want, and you see Medieval Gallant, because Medieval Gallant's not a Liberator or anything, and it's just like, he's not a Bird or Avion either. He's the Vortex Warrior, so it's like you can either grab Shoto as your Liberator or Medieval as your Vortex. Inheritable plus 2000 comes up quite a bit. Absolutely amazing. One of my ideal setups is typically turn 1, maybe try and hard slam this, and then get a cheeky check in turn 2, or have my opponent kill it. Just because I want one in the trash pretty much at all times, on the off chance they hit scramble in security, just so I've always got something there to play out. So that was one of my goals every time I seen this, was like, right, I need to get one of these in the trash as quick as possible. Just so then a lot of my security effects, like, yeah, you shouldn't rely on them, but it was always that matter of, if they ever came up, it was there ready, rather than being not there. Next, I chose to run 3 EX7 Terramons for the cost reduction and memory game inheritable. It's a nice card. It's easy to see why you run it at 4. I was trying to min-max as much as possible, and I felt as 3 was doable, as it was cuttable from 4. And it worked very well for me. So the all turns is very nice, and a lot of the times, I'm going to be honest, it was only in the late game, like, that I really started using it's your turn, like mid to late. The early game, if I ever went to this in the back, and it was the third one I wanted to see in the back, I was digivolving over it in the back anyway, because I had to set up for power plays early on without having to rely on my opponent having Digimon. So this is why I kind of felt like it was cuttable from 4 to 3. It's nice to have it 4, but it's not absolutely needed. And for this reason, like, 3 is just fine. I wouldn't go any lower than 3. It is a 3 or a 4 of, and that's the ratio I'd keep it at. I then chose to run 2 promo Terramons. The on-play to suspend something is just nice. That quick suspension plus 2000 DP if you need to. Worst case scenario, digivolve to it in the back. So I was mostly running this for the on-play, just for that cheap cost to go, right, we're just going to play it out, suspend, and it also gave me more targets for, once again, security effects. So if my opponent was potentially going for game and they hit a scramble, right, I can play this out, suspend your last thing so I still live, and think kind of like that idea. Like, there's a lot of strategies I put into the deck where it is a little bit of luck, but it's like I'd rather have these options than not have them, because at the end of the day, sometimes luck's what makes all the difference in some games, and it can make the big push. But yeah, you can de-evolve into the back with this. It's very easily done. You don't always have to hold on to it for its on play. Then our final rookie, we're playing one Muchomon. Playing this purely for the inheritable of piercing, in case we don't see our EX7 Shoto. So that way our line can still do some stuff. The all turns effect does come up sometimes, it's very nice. There's been points where I've had this on the board and immediately my opponents went to do something and I've managed to suspend it via an effect, be it like medieval, or even counter timing into the ace, and then make that body really big and not have to worry about DP. It does come up every now and then, it's nice, but I like it for the piercing. So before I get onto champions, I want to just quickly address some people are running Palmons. I've not had the chance to test them. I don't actually own any Palmons. So I went for more of the standard Bird Avion tribal version, and it works pretty fine for me. I would happily try Palmons in the deck, and I see where they've got their uses, but I feel at this moment in time I'd probably divert myself back to Birds and Avions.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that way you never miss a thing.
On to our level 4s. Running 4 of the new promo Galemon. This guy is amazing for the deck. He does so much. So start off with probably what as I see is his weakest thing, which is inheritable, is plus 2000. That's very nice. It gets us very high DP. It's very strong. But his actual effect is ridiculous. So when digivolving, as well as on play, and there's been times where I have happily hard slammed this guy before to get the effect going. You may suspend an opponent's. You may suspend one Digimon, and then if it's your turn, this Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with Avion or Bird trait and as in hand. For every other suspended Digimon, reduce this effect's digivolution cost by 1. So there has been points where, okay, I need to get an opponent's body suspended, but I also need to set up another Grand Gale to have multiple bodies threatening ace, so they can't just get rid of one line. And that's the point where I've kind of just went, right, I'm going to hard slam for 4, suspend, digivolve for reduced cost, trigger Vortex into something. Then at that point, it's just been like, okay, I've got a Grand Gale and a Zephaga. I've got multiple bodies threatening the ace. One is at least one's typically immune to Digimon effects. And then if possible, I'll keep doing that every turn, or maybe even raise up the line next time and do it there. So much utility with this. Also, with it being a play cost 4, it comes up with the structure deck Galemon, since that says play cost liberated 4 or less. So if they hit insecurity and you've got this in trash, and like you don't have your rookies or anything, you can play this. You don't get to digivolve, but you get to play and go right, suspend the last body so you don't get to hit for game. It comes up in multiple ways. I am running 3 EX7 Galemons for the playing out as Shoto, as well as the memory gain inheritable. Now, I was originally running this at 2 before I went to Glasgow, and the next, it was the next card I bumped up to 3, and I could still very easily see myself doing it. I do not see the difference in running this as a 2 of or a 3 of. I see plenty of lists running this as a 4 of, and I'm going to be honest, I don't see why. Like, yes, playing a Tamer is nice, but you only get that effect twice, so why play it at 4? And the memory gain, yes, is nice on all turns, but more often than not, you want the DP increase these days. So, to me, this is a very easily cut down card. Yes, you want it to play out the Tamers, but I think 3 is probably the max you should go, in my personal opinion. I don't think 4 is needed for this card. There is other things that are way better for you. Next, on to our final 04. I'm playing the structure deck Galemon. I'm not playing the other promo. So I was running this at 3 and the EX7 Galemon at 2. I do like the security effect. It does come up. Yes, it is relying on luck a little bit, but I'd rather have it. Also, 6,000 DP naturally does come up pretty nice. If you ever get ruin moded and they've only just minus 5k your board, you can raise this still, and then go into a Grand Gale, get the immunities, and still do your play. It's also, out of all the Galemons that exist, it is the one that you feel the least bad about digivolving into the back with. So all the other ones have got when Digimon effects. This one does not. So if you ever see it, it's not too much of a bad choice to go right for the cost 2 when Digivolve in the back with this one. Get the plus 2,000 heritable later on. Also, having Vortex is very nice for it. Sometimes it can end games with Vortex, especially when you combine it with the memory set of Shoto. The amount of times where I've just simply went, okay, I've got memory set of Shoto on field. They've got 0 security, everything's suspended down, they've got no ace potential. Hard slam for 6, Vortex, Shoto swap it to you, win for game. Or even Digivolve over a rookie or something that that's like been played this turn, to then get Vortex. I could see myself bumping this back up to 3 in the future, maybe. I didn't really like the... I've play tested using the other promo Galemon in the spot, and I didn't like it. I wasn't a big fan. I missed this, honestly. And like I say, sometimes you just you gotta have a little bit of luck. I'd rather have things in security that can help me than things that can't. On to our level 5s for EX7 Grand Gales. This is one of the MVPs of the deck. First of all, it's got Vortex, does come up, and then it's got the ability to give itself immunity by suspending one of your own Digimon, and inheritable when this Digimon attacks an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend. This guy does so much for the deck, it's unreal. He is one of the few cards that I see as a mandatory 4 of. There are points where you maybe want to suspend an opponent's Digimon over your own, just to have something to Vortex into, or maybe you feel like you've got a play coming up where you don't need his immunity. So like maybe you're going to go into Zephaga, get the immunity from that for your turn, and you've left a body on your opponent's board that's going to unsuspend and trigger the immunity again. So there's things like that where sometimes you don't always need it. The inheritable comes up so much, especially with the ace. The ace combined with this is ridiculous. You can get like easily, with an optimal board state, you can get like 4 checks with the ace alone with the Grand Gale. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, this guy is one of the few MVPs of the deck, and honestly, he's probably one of the few cards in the deck that has the potential to be hit in the future if he ever gets crazy. We're also running 2 structure deck Grand Gales for more targets to hit with our search. I've never used it on play. I only ever use it when Digivolving, and is when Digivolving. It's nice to play something out, and sometimes you want to do that if you want to go a little bit wide. But there are a few times where I'm just suspending my opponent's Digimon down, knowing that my next Digivolve is going to be Zephaga or something, and I need something to Vortex into, and things like that. Sometimes I just may not even have the body on my side to spend to play out, and honestly, there has been points where sometimes I've just suspended him to Digimon to Zephaga to unsuspend to get Zephaga immunity there and then. Inheritable is exactly the same. When this Digimon attacks the opponent's Digimon, it may unsuspend. It's always nice having more of that inheritable as well. And our final level 5. I'm running in the one of Argomon with the Digizorb. Suspend down your own body, Digizorb into it, then you go Zephaga, unsuspend, still do your stuff. The when attacking to play out a level 3 green Digimon does come up sometimes, and especially if you combine it with the ace. If somehow you've managed, and this has happened a few times, if you've got like a handful of Searcher Terramons, if you manage to get the if you'll be able to get like 3 checks roughly with because you don't have the unsuspend from Grand Gale with the ace. You could play out 3 of them and it gets so much search power to be like, right, okay, I'm ready for like whatever comes next down the line, and it's a very nice piece, and I think I would probably miss it if I was to drop it. I did try playing Chromon for a while, and with just how I built the deck, I ended up not liking it. I missed the Agumon, so I went back to that. On to our level 6s. I'm running 3 Structure Deck Zephagamon. I think 3 is fine. You could easily put this to 4 if you wanted, but 3 is perfectly fine for with the ratios we're running. Easily one of your most biggest MVPs of your level 6 lineup. So when Digimon, you suspend a Digimon, and then you unsuspend a Digimon. Typically 9 times out of 10, you're unsuspending himself because he's suspended from your Glasglow or your Agumon or something. And then when a Digimon becomes unsuspend all turns, he'll get plus 3000 DP and become immune to Digimon effects till the end of the turn. So if you're able to control the board state well enough, and like as long as they've constantly have a Digimon, you're most of the time able to keep his immunity going constantly. Especially in your opponent's turn, because it's not always worth just vortexing into a suspended Digimon. Sometimes you maybe just want to leave it alone, so then it's like, right, you unsuspend, I'll get my immunity, and now this is only a plus 3k, so it's on 14k. Immune Digimon, which means you're now threatening Ace on an immune Digimon to Digimon effects. All because you just left their suspended Digimon alone to unsuspend in their turn. Sometimes that's the type of thinking you need to do with this deck. It's not all about, right, I've got a target, let's hit hard and fast. Sometimes you've got to really play the long game and just be like, right, I'm going to leave that alone. That can stay over there, and just do little things while you can. Next, I'm running 2 Medieval Gallantmons. This card is so good for the deck. It's searchable in our deck, making it very easy to find. Honestly though, what I will say is I was digivolving into it a lot more than I was actually using its cost reduction, which is nice. Very rarely did I ever get the Alliance up, but when Alliance came up it mattered. The biggest thing that this does, just being on the board, is threatening its all turns of like, okay, play something, I'm going to delete it, and that was the biggest threat for a lot of people. It really made people play differently, and made people play awkwardly. And that's the biggest thing he honestly does for the deck. Having Vortex as well is nice. Being able to spend bodies to play him down is nice. Ultimately, he just goes for the entire synergy of the deck. And he's the only one, honestly, that the rest of the level 5s don't really cooperate with for Vortex. So, all your level 5s, in a typical scenario, are suspending themselves. And then if you then digivolve on top of them to him, you've now got a suspended Medieval, which means he's got no way of unsuspending unless you have Shoto. So that's the only reason I mean, like, he doesn't really work with them. All your level 6s do work, like they can unsuspend themselves without needing Shoto. But I do feel like 2 is really good, just to see him and make sure he's not trapped in security. Our next level 6 or level 7, depending on what you want to your point of view. 3 Zephagamon Aces. I was playtesting this at 2 for the longest time, and it felt really good at 2, but I had this random thought of I want to try it at 3. Just because I feel like its power is so good at 3, and I end up loving it at 3. Having Piercing, Blocker, Vortex all on it. When any Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon may unsuspend. So it's like multiple checks, multiple blocker, and then the on-player when Digimon to suspend a Digimon down, and then for every 2 suspended Digimon, you may return to the bottom of the deck one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. Honestly, this guy comes up so much, being a cost of 1 over your Vortex Warriors as well. So like, there's a really powerful play if you've managed to block with Zephaga, and it comes back to your turn, and you unsuspend that Zephaga, it gets its plus 3k in immunity. You then go cost 1 on Zephaga Ace. This can now do some massive damage while being immune. Absolutely crazy. And there are points where I just, like, say, I counter timing this over Glasglow. There's times I hard digivolved this over Glasglow. is a lot of the stuff that the deck needed. Honestly, at this point, I kind of feel like the only thing the deck is missing is another good level 5. Maybe something else with Vortex. I feel like the deck's got everything else it wants. But, yeah. I could not see myself going lower than 3 on this anymore. It is such an amazing card. High DP value as well compared to the rest of the deck, naturally. Now, we are running a level 7. I'm running Powder mode. So, I'm running this for multiple reasons in the deck. The biggest reason I decided to run this, I decided, like, there's going to be a lot of people probably playing decks that are trying to utilize Omnimon X, the new BT21. And I was like, okay, so if there's a chance I hit Nan Security or something and it's in trash, then I can counter timing into this, bottom deck their trash, steal turn. That was one of the first reasons I was playing it. The other one was for purple decks, because purple hybrids, I feel like they're going to get a last hurrah. For those may seem the deck's going to die with the ban list coming up. I think it was a good shout there. Virus and Pildra was another potential reason for using it. But also, with combined with Show, we can actually make this a blocker. So if they've got multiple bodies, we counter timing into this block, and if we've got the memory gain inheritables to steal turn, we now leave them with a bunch of sourceless Digimon to then just go swing, unsuspend, swing, unsuspend, swing. So it does come up there. More often than not, we were bottom decking our own trash with this, and I think this card is very format dependent for the deck. At the moment, like for Glasgow, it was a good card to run. As going into the next format, if purple hybrids are still around or not, as maybe it's good enough for just Virus and Pildra. So we'll see. It's one of those cards that I do think it slips in and out with the format. On to our Tamers. I'm running 3 EX7 Shoto. I felt like this was cuttable from 4 to 3, once again for min-maxing. But also we have the Ace now that's got built-in piercing. And we also run the one of Muchumon for if we don't see this. Other than that, this card is still amazing. It's still absolutely fantastic, giving blocker piercing, memory gain. I just don't think it's needed at 4 anymore, which saves a little bit of space for other cards in the deck. Other than that, there's not much more to say. It's Shoto. You all kind of know what it does. It's seen itself in a bunch of decks. Absolutely fantastic card. I would not go any lower than 3. It would be a 3 or a 4 over in the deck. Next, I ran 2 memory set of Shotos. Purely to see it, like I feel like you could cut this card down to 1 and you would be fine. I decided to run it at 2 just so I had better chances at seeing it, as it's a nice way to, if your opponent's only got 1 suspended Digimon and you want to leave them that Digimon so you can keep triggering your Zephaga's immunity, it's a nice way to call a swing, swap the attack target to you, leaving that alone, and then you don't have to worry about it. Also, this combined, this is part of the reason why when you combine with Grand Gale and stuff, as well as the EX7 Shoto, is how you can get some of your maximum damage out if they've only got 1 Digimon. So typically what you can do is, with the Ace particularly, you just naturally swing at their only suspended Digimon, trigger the Grand Gale to unsuspend, use Shoto to change the attack target to them. Then at that point, you swing at them again, use the Ace's own effect as unsuspend, swing again, go to pass turn, use the EX7 Shoto to unsuspend your Ace once more, trigger the Vortex into the suspended Digimon, and there you go, there's your 4 checks. So this is why I kind of played this as a 2 of, just because I wanted to see that, and memory setting is also pretty nice. On to our last Tamer. I decided to run 2 BT20 Shoto. I was running this at 1. It was very nice, and there was points where I wish I'd seen it more. So I decided to bump it up to 2. And I'm happy I did. This is absolutely fantastic for the deck. It allows you to set up your Vortex without needing to have other cards in play. Gives the extra DP that you want. It's a pseudo scramble, so if you've got nothing in the back, and like because you've raised last turn, your board's been wiped, you can go right. I'm going to bottom deck this, play out another Shoto if you've got one, and then play a 3000 DP or less Bird or Avion from trash, and kind of be ready to go again, try and set up. It's very nice. This is very good for the mirror match to keep immunities going, or even trying to out Vortex them. It's also very good for matchups like, say, Royal Knights, where they just hard play and then the next turn is typically tucked under. So if you've got your one body set up, it's like, right, well, I'm just going to end a turn, tap this Shoto, give 2000 DP, suspend that, Vortex in. It does so much for the deck. It is... you could probably get away with it as a 1-of, but I see it as a 2-of. There are some lists playing as a 3-of. I can see why for the extra DP, but I don't think personally that's needed. I think 2 is the perfect amount. Lastly, onto our options. I'm playing 3 green memory boosts. So I was running this at 2, and I was running training at 3. However, I discovered a lot in playtesting. There was points where I was missing like a level 5 or something, and it was taking a while to see it. So I decided I wanted to bump the memory boost up to 3, as it lets me to search deeper for that level I'm missing. And hopefully it makes the deck overall more consistent. And then one of the things to do, I can also, as I find it better to crack for the memory than rather crack for the Digivolve. Because then that way I can just like hard slam my Vortex cards a bit better. And overall, it did come up. It did help. I think there was a grand total of maybe 2 games overall. I bricked so badly that I didn't really see things, and even then in those games, I still played very well with the deck. Just if I maybe seen pieces, I could have maybe have won those games. But yeah, overall though, I do feel personally for myself, more green memory boost than trainings was the way to go. And we mentioned it, we are on 2 trainings. So trainings for the reduced Digivolution cost, to be able to grab things outside of Digimon as well. We can pick up a green memory boost with this, we can pick up our Tamers with this, we can pick up our other option cards. It does come up, it is very nice, and being able to reduce Digivolution cost by 2 is also very nice. I was also playing 2 scrambles. Again, that cheaper Digivolution for just hard playing it, but security effect as well to play out a Digimon from trash, so we get our searches going. But also the start of your turn, stacking the deck is very nice, but if you've got nothing, this is kind of like the perfect green deck for scramble, because like that body we play out, we can still use it for Vortex later on if we get up there. So I felt like 2 was nice for this deck. A lot of decks are playing scramble at 1 these days, and I mean just in general. I don't mean just Vortex deck, but I think Vortex is one of the few decks that you should probably play it at 2, just for that start of turn effect, since we can utilize Vortex. And lastly, the last option card I'm playing 1 Vortex Resonance. I was playing Digimon Liberator for the longest time, and I was playing that at 2. And I like the search power, play as a 3-cost Tamer, or another searcher to get more search going. But I decided I wanted to try out Vortex Resonance. This was down to... it still gives me the search power, and I'm going to Digivolve for reduced cost to 4. It's inheritable. Let me play out the Memory Setter Shoto from hand or trash if I had it, and not just the cost of 3. Which also meant I could get my searches on the go or anything like that. It gave me so much more options, just that one thing if it was hitting security. Then you added the hand, so immediately you can use it again. And because it's part green, our trainings can grab it compared to Digimon Liberator. So I'm very happy with the choice I made to play this over Liberator. It did come up a lot more than I thought it was going to, and I was very overall happy with it. So as you can see on screen right now, this is the deck list. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Like I say, we got top 8 in Glasgow with this. I won't lie, the hardest matchup for this deck is Gallantmon, and I took on 2 the entire day. one I won down to pure luck, and one that I lost I got absolutely annihilated by. Honestly, though, the second worst matchup is probably purple hybrids, and I weirdly I managed to win both my purple hybrids purely down to the ace. The ace was so much power for the deck, and due to how I've built the deck, I say the third worst matchup is probably Virus and Pildra, because we've set up a lot of security bombs to play things out. But overall, the deck's so much fun, and it is just one support away from being up there in the meta. It is a very high skill ceiling deck. You've got to really think with it. You've got to know how to play against your opponent, lure them into traps and stuff. But overall, it's just a very fun deck. It is probably the definition of playing 3D chess with your opponent kind of thing. But yeah, I hope you had a wonderful time. Next week's video is going to be the podcast we filmed in Glasgow. I hope you all enjoy that. But I'll see you all next time. Till then, adios.